Let's do that question today. It's from hellointerview.com. Link to this website you can find under this video in the description box. Okay, let's get started. So the question is to design URL shortener like Bitly. User should be able to submit a long URL and receive a shortened version, shortened version. User can optionally provide a custom alias or or explanation for the shortened URL. User should be able to access the original URL by using the shortened URL. Okay, so user will give us long URL and we should give him back short URL, and user can also customize it a little bit by providing his own alias expiration. Okay, and yeah, when someone is actually using that URL, they should be able to access the original URL. Okay, the scale of the system is 1 billion shortened URLs and 100 million daily active users. Okay, so the scale is quite large, 1 billion shortened, 100 million, 1 billion shortened URLs and 100 million daily active users. Okay, we will walk through our recommended delivery framework step by step. We recommend you to follow this framework in your real system design interviews. Okay. What are the non-functional requirements for this system? Okay, let's list sort of non-functional requirements for this particular system. Maybe let's always start with Cap Fiori. So from the Cap Fiori, from that perspective, do we prefer a system which is heavily available, or the system which is more consistent? It also kind of depends on which part of the system we're talking about. I would say we we can afford to lose a little bit of consistency. So let's say if the user request hits the server or database which was not updated yet, usually for that kind of system like Bitly it would be okay. And for that kind of system we would actually prefer high availability and yeah, for consistency to be for system to be eventually consistent. So I would say the system be highly available. Certain parts of the system can be still highly consistent, but in general, yeah, it's okay when user like hits the replica, which read replica, for example, which is not totally up to date. It wouldn't be okay in, let's say, banking applications or that sort of things where lack of consistency may look as system not being secure enough. So high available. I would say that system should be also quite scalable. So because we want to handle 1 billion shortened users and 100 million daily active users. So system should definitely scale to quite large amounts. I would say the system should also be a sort of secure, let's say. By that I mean that, for example, the things like setting expiration date, or well, expiration date is not straight away part of security, but it could be in some ways. But here, by security, I mean making system secure is more, especially in terms of that particular system. It will be more in terms that we don't really want the shortened URL to be sort of the pattern based on which we created. We don't want that pattern to be easily hackable or easily predictable. So let's say avoid for shortening. Yeah, so we don't want shorten URL to go from 1 and then next 2 and 3 and so on. We want to kind of prevent predictability. It's sort of like important for many reasons. Like we don't want to let our competition, like how many URLs we store. We don't want, that may also sort of trigger certain attacks. If someone can just predict URLs, then they can kind of storm those services one by one, predicting every URL. And I would say, as a last thing, I would say the system should be fault tolerant. And that kind of systems are used very often in sort of like advertisements or on radio podcasts and so on. So it's just like very important. People use it for essentially making money very often, for providing some sort of referral links. So for that kind of system, it would be good if we could make system where like where a system is just fault tolerant. So when once database or one server crashes, then there's something to pick it up. In that way, we can just serve customers in the best way possible. Okay. Okay, there's that new tab. I haven't noticed that before. Or we can ask clarifying questions. That's interesting. Okay. But let's just send that for feedback. Okay, you correctly identify high availability as a key non-functional requirement and contextualize it within the CAP theorem, showing your understanding the system is prioritize availability over consistency. You recognize security as important, specifically mentioning the need to avoid predictable URLs patterns, which is relevant for URL shortener. You miss low latency redirection, which is particularly important for URL shortener, since users expect near instantaneous redirects when clicking shorten links, ideally under 100 milliseconds, or to maintain a seamless user experience. Yeah, that's true. Low latency. When designing URL shortener, redirection speed is a critical user experience factor. Users will abandon links that taking too long to resolve, and the requirement should be explicitly stated because it drives important design decisions like caching strategies, database choices, or geographic distribution of your service. In an interview, articulating specific targets demonstrates that you understand real-world performance needs of the system rather than just listing general qualities. While you mentioned scalable and fault tolerant, these terms are too generic without context specific. Bitly, for example, scalability could refer to how many URLs shootings per second system can handle, how many redirects it can process simultaneously. yeah, that's so simple. How many redirects we can process, how many URLs we can create, how fast we can create them in the system. Designed to it's more effective to quantify non-functional requirements of specific metrics. For example, instead of just saying scalable, specify the system. Specify that the system should handle 100 million URL shortenings per day and 1 billion redirects per day. This level of specificity demonstrates deeper thinking about the system's constraints and helps guide architectural decisions later in the interview, such as choosing appropriate database or caching strategies. Okay. Minor suggestions: consider quantifying your non-functional requirements where possible. For example, specify availability targets, 99% maximum acceptance latency or expected scale, millions of redirects per. Yeah, that would be good to specify availability like 99%, 99.99%. Maximum acceptable latency, expected scale, millions of redirects per day. Quantifying requirements transforms vague goals into measurable targets that guide your design decisions. For example, saying the system should handle 100 million redirects daily with 99.99% ability and redirect latency under 100 milliseconds gives clear design constraints. During the interview, these specific targets demonstrate your practical thinking and allow you to justify architectural choices like using distributed cache to meet latency requirements or implementing redundancy to achieve availability targets. Okay. Non-functional requirements ensure uniqueness of short links, low latency, redirection should take less than 100 milliseconds availability. It's more important here than consistency and scalable to 1 billion URLs and 100 million daily active users.